Once upon a time, there was an ugly duckling. She was big, she was clumsy, she was just awkward amidst the other ducklings and every other animal on the farm, and even, her supposed duckling siblings, they laughed at her, and she had to run away. Yes, she ran away. Hi, besties. Welcome to another episode of my series, The Stories That Make Life Better. Yeah, the stories that make life better. Today, I'll be talking about self worth, identity, and what it means to really grow into your beauty, even when other people cannot see it yet. I think a lot of us are familiar with the story of the ugly duckling. It's a story that we grew up, hearing or listening to from our parents or aunties and uncles around. And this story of the ugly duckling is a metaphor for how people often judge what they do not understand. I think I should tell you the story to refresh our memories a bit. So once upon a time, there was an ugly duckling, but before she was born, her mother had to sit on the eggs. The duck's mother, mother duck, so she sat on the eggs for a long time. When it was time for the eggs to hatch, the other ones broke and they came out looking cute, small, and beautiful. And then the ugly duckling took a while before it hatched because it was the biggest egg. And so when she finally hatched and she came out, she was so big, she was clumsy, she just didn't fit in because she was different from the other dogs. And every other animal on the farm were laughing at her because she was so different and she didn't look anything like her siblings, like her dog siblings. So due to all of this, hate and not being accepted for who she was, she had to run away. So when this dog ran away, she experienced so many hardships. She had to fend for herself, look for food for herself, during the harshest weathers. She had to, just figure out how to get herself safe and all of that. Then one day, something happened. She saw a group of swans swimming in a river, and she was so in love with how they were so beautiful, how they were so perfect, and just having fun. And she said, I wish I could be like one of them. Guess what? She was actually one of them. Spoiler alert. So while she was wishing she was one of them, she moved closer to the river, and then she saw her reflection for the very first time. For the very first time in the river, and guess what? She looked exactly like the swans. And so the swans also saw her. They noticed her, and they beckoned on her to come, and before you know, they were all playing together, and she found her tribe. Basically, the ugly duckling was never a duckling from the start. The ugly duckling was a swan, and she was termed ugly because she didn't look anything like dogs. I mean, a swan is more beautiful than a dog, right? So let me know in the comment section, but I think that swans are more beautiful than dogs. So all the time she was fighting to be accepted, making herself feel bad for not being beautiful. She was beautiful, she just was different from what they term beautiful in the dog community. So she was a beautiful and golden swan from the start, but because she wasn't like a dog, they thought she was ugly. And this applies to real life situations. It applies to how people are often treated in life, or how we ourselves treat other people. We often tend to judge. We tend to cast shades, low-key shades on things that we do not understand. Basically, the ugly duckling was never ugly. She just wasn't the idea that people expected. She just wasn't the image that they expected of her. And this is the trap a lot of us fall into. Sometimes we believe that our self-worth is tied to other people's recognition. If people do not recognize that something in you is valuable or that you are valuable, you suddenly start thinking that you're not valuable. And then before you know, your self-esteem is going downhill. Self-worth is not about applause or approval. It is about alignment, knowing who you truly are, knowing exactly what or who you are and what you have in you. Okay, it doesn't need any approval from the world. Times in life that you might be the ugly duckling in certain situations. Maybe you just started a new job, you find yourself in a new school, just doing something new, and all of a sudden you're being ignored, you're being neglected because you don't fit into their idea of the kind of person that they want in that establishment. But most times what people don't know is that the fact that you don't look like what they want you to be does not mean you have no value to offer. Take for example, you might be very good at a particular thing, and once they realize that you're good at that thing, suddenly they are rushing to you, they are coming to, try to start famsing you. Is famsing a word or is just the Nigerian slang? Basically, when they see that you are very good at something, then they suddenly want to be friends with you. They just want to be friends with you because they feel like, oh, you are suddenly cool because you are good at this thing or that thing. The reason why some people will not see your worth or your true value yet is because they do not really understand the unfamiliar. As human beings, we often do not understand what we are not familiar with. When we see something different, when we see something, new, that's not like what we are used to, we tend to think that, okay, it's either bad for us or we can't be associated with it. That was the case of the ugly duckling. Because she didn't look like the other ducks, they suddenly felt that she was ugly even though she was beautiful. Sometimes people do not recognize the unfamiliar. They won't understand your gifts, they won't understand your voice, they won't understand your glow or how you do the things that you do. Not because you're not enough, not because you're not good enough, not because your gift or your glow is not obvious enough, but it's because they are not ready to actually see it, because they are not familiar with your gift. The ugly duckling was never ugly. She was a swan, and guess what? Swans are actually beautiful and they do not need any validation from ducks. Of course, it's glaring that swans are beautiful. So what validation would they need from ducks? So always tell yourself that you do not need validation from anybody. You don't need anyone's validation in order to see the beauty that is in you, or the gift that you have, or the value that you know that you bring to the table. So it's okay if people do not see you yet. It's okay if they see you as unfamiliar. Keep becoming, keep rising. That is all that matters. So as I bring this video to a close, I want to remind you that if you've ever been told that you are too much, or that you're not enough, or that you're trying too hard, please let me remind you, you are just enough. You're not doing too much. You are not here to shrink to fit into anyone's comfort. You're here to grow. You're here to thrive. You're here to evolve. And that is what you should be doing. Your glow up may not be loud. It may not be visible. Your transformation may be happening in little rooms, not in big rooms yet, but it doesn't mean that something good is not happening in your life. And one day, the world is actually going to see your glow up. They're going to see your transformation and see how beautiful, how amazing, how talented, how valuable you are. But guess what? By the time the world realizes this, it wouldn't matter, because you already know who you are, and that is the most important thing. Thank you for watching today's episode of Stories That Make Life Better. If this touched your heart, don't forget to share with someone who needs a reminder that they were never ugly. They were just waiting to be seen. Until next time, guys, keep blooming, keep being beautiful. You're not an ugly duckling. You're probably a swan in the midst of dogs. I'll see you guys in my next one. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye. Where you glow.